Lori here. I'm back. It's 8:09 on July 6th. This is my second full week off, which I'm really excited for summer break. So I am going to tackle the behemoth that is Chain of Gold this week. Sorry, it's over there. But I'm about 6 chapters in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go do my nonfiction reading and my Skillshare class, and then I'm probably going to come back and chat a little bit through Chain of Gold and what my thoughts are right now, how many chapters I've read, and all that other fun stuff. But I do have quite a bit of nonfiction reading to do, so I'm going to go do that, and I'll check back in with you guys in a moment. Bye, guys. Lori here, I'm back. I did wind up doing my nonfiction reading for the day, and I did wind up doing my course about goal making. So what I think I'm actually going to do, I just bought the audiobook of White Fragility, and I think once I'm done with Chain of Gold, this is going to be my audiobook that I am going to listen to, because I struggling a little bit with the length of the chapters, and because it's a library book, I just don't have a lot of time with it. So I did wind up buying the audiobook, and I'm probably going to listen to this directly after Chain of Gold. But I do want to dive into Chain of Gold because I am going to focus on reading this for the rest of the day. I did get up to page 143. Still really enjoying it. We left up on kind of a cliffhanger there. Basically, this is set a couple, I think 10 or 12 years after the Infernal Devices series, and the society as a whole is dealing with kind of a lull of peace, and you're following all of the characters' children. So you're following Tessa and Will's kids, you're following the Lightwood kids, you're following everyone kids, but an unexpected thing happened that kind of is broken that peace, so now they're kind of dealing with the aftermath, and you're following a bunch of different characters. So you're on page 143. I do want to tackle quite a bit of this today. That is my goal. Well, one of my goals. But I did also, so reading I'm going to focus on today. I also did wind up doing my Me and White Supremacy reading was all about Me and White Apathy, which was super interesting. And I did wind up reading 2 full chapters in White Fragility, and that is why I made the decision to get the audiobook. Because normally when I read nonfiction, I like to take notes. But that book is not really conducive for me to take notes. I'm just going to kind of listen to it, and then if I feel the need to take notes, I will. But yeah, I also am going to take today and kind of figure out what is 3 goals I want to focus on for the summer, because I do have 2 months off. And I might share them with you. I don't know. We'll see. But that is kind of my plan. I'm going to go get some food. And then I'm going to dive into Chain of Gold. I have some older, longer YouTube videos that have just come out, so I'm probably going to put that on as background noise. It's really, really hot outside, so I'm probably going to work out later if I decide to. But I'll update you guys when I make a little bit more progress on Chain of Gold. Bye. Here I'm back. It's about 2 o'clock. I did actually go for a walk, and it was an okay decision. It's still a little bit hot. But I did wind up making quite a bit of progress on Chain of Gold. I'm on page 200. So then I'm going to break up this reading vlog, as I'm going to talk non-spoiler thoughts, and then I'm going to, at the end, I'll probably talk spoilers, because I don't think this video is going to be that long. I am really, really liking it. The one thing I love about Cassie Clare is she really does build such nice, tight cast of characters, and I've said this before, I really loved her cast of characters in all of her series going forward, but this one I really, really like. I also like the time period. There's about 6 characters that we're kind of focusing on. We're focusing on Anna, we're focusing on James and Lucy, which are Will and Tessa's kids, and then we're following Matthew Fairchild, Charles, Cordelia, who I really, really like, and Anna, who I really, really like. Cassie Clare is also really good at kind of switching up diversity a little bit and adding LGBTQ relationships. I wasn't expecting necessarily getting that, because this is a book that's in the 1900s, I think, or 1897, or I think it's the early 1900s. So I'm really liking that diversity, and I'm really, really captivated. This is a book that I literally will just keep reading because I'm so captivated. I really, really love the characters. If I had to pick a favorite right now, I'd probably say Cordelia is one of my favorites, and I really do love the younger brother who works with his dad a lot. I like that. I can't think of his name right now, but those are the 2 characters that I'm really captivated on. But I'm gonna go back to reading, and I'll update you guys when I can. Probably when I read about 50 to 100 more pages. But yeah, Still really enjoying it. Happy I finally decided to dive in and read it. This is definitely a monstrosity. Like, it's long, but again, it's not as long as my Keeper of Velocity book, so it's pretty good. Talk to you guys in a bit. Right here, I'm back. I did make a little bit more reading progress. I got up to page 222. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I am going to play Animal Crossing because I haven't played all weekend, and I feel like I should probably play. So I'm going to go play Animal Crossing for a little bit, and then I'm probably going to come back in. I really am liking these characters. I'm going to wait till the end to tell you, like, which group of characters I like better, but I really am liking this bunch of characters. I just like the time period a lot, and I like that we're having a bunch of different types of characters. This is like from the, this is from the first edition that they got. But I'm liking them. I just think it's fun. It's a really, really great read. There's a lot of mysteries that are developing, and again, I really have to kind of remember, like, who's connected to who, because they just kind of say first names, and then at the end you're like, oh, that's really, like, that's, like, the Lightwood's ancestor. So sometimes I get a little bit confused with that stuff, but other than that, a good pre-order incentive for a future book series would be a family tree. That would be a very, very good pre-order incentive. I think this is Simon & Schuster. So consider that in the future. But I'm going to go play a little bit of Animal Crossing, and I'll check back in with you guys when I start reading again. Bye. Hey guys, Lori here. I'm back. It's about 4:30. I just went up eating. I played a little bit of Animal Crossing. I got a couple of things that I need to wait for tomorrow for Animal Crossing, so definitely will play tomorrow. I am going to read for a little bit. I'm going to try to get up to page 250, and then I'm probably going to do another workout, which is important because it's really, really hot, so I didn't get to do my 2 bike rides today. But I'm going to go read up to 250, then I'll check in with you guys. Bye. It's Lori here. I'm back. Sorry, I changed my angle a little bit. But I did wind up getting up to page 238 in Chain of Gold. Still really liking this book. I'm definitely liking it because basically you're flashing back like a year or two in the past when you're in the present, so you're kind of being told a bunch of different stories. The one thing I always like about Cassius Clare's writing is that you can really get into, like, all the characters' heads at different points. So, like, most of the times when you read a fantasy novel, you have, like, one narrator most times. But this book, especially, you're really in so many people's heads, so it kind of, like, changes the world depending on the character that you're seeing it through. Right now, I have 3 favorite characters. I really like Lucy, really like Cordelia, really like James, and really like Thomas. That's like half the characters, but I really am liking it. It's been a while since I read, like, this time period in the Shadowhunter world, and a lot has changed. And actually, I've never read this specific time period because even when I read Tessa and Will and Jem's book, it was like 20 years earlier. I'm really, really liking it though. It's one of those books that, like, captures you from page 1, and the characters are super captivating. It's just, I will say this, there's a lot of families, so, like, it's sometimes, like, really hard to remember who's who. I feel like I just need to print out like a family tree and kind of use that when I'm going through it, because there is, like, a lot of characters. So I feel like as I get, like, through the books, and once I reread the book, I think that will become, like, a little bit easier to, like, follow. But I'm really liking it. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to go do my workout, and I'm going to come back and try to read about 25 more pages, and then I'll check in with you guys. But it's been a bit since I've read a Cassie Clare book, like, physically, and I forgot how fast I read them. I normally listen to the audiobooks because they're so long, and I am also listening to the audiobook, like, throughout this, but thoroughly liking it. Yeah, I love sweet, kind-hearted characters, and I'm definitely finding that in this book. But there is a lot going on, and I'm really curious, like, how the mystery is going to turn out. Another thing Claire does super well is she always creates really compelling storylines, like, set in the world. Like, with the Dark Artifices series, there was the question of what happens when you fall in love with your parabatai, which was a really interesting question. And then you also had, like, in the Mortal Instruments series, you know, Clary was basically, like, the version of a chosen one. And then in the Infernal Devices series, you have what happens when a Shadowhunter is the daughter of a demon. And I thought that, like, all these questions are so fascinating, and I'm just really curious, like, what the question is. The one thing I do like about this book, again, is, like, I love the diversity of the characters, and Anne is definitely LGBTQ. I'll say that. I probably am predicting that. But there's also so many other characters that you just don't know. Alistair started this book out being like a very, very unlikable character going in from him reading about him from like the other short stories. But, you know, when you see him from other characters' point of view, you kind of get a little bit of a different story. So I'm gonna go work out, and I'll report back. Right here, just checking back in. I did wind up getting up to page 267, which is chapter 11 in Chain of Gold. I have found a character I'm not the biggest fan of, and I have found a character that I really, really enjoy in this section. There's also a first gut punch moment in this book, so I am really intrigued to see like what's happening, and I have to really remember like what timeline I'm in, because things are very different in this part of the book than they are in like subsequent iterations of the series. Like some rules are happening now that are not the case in later books, so I'm intrigued by that. Oh, Thomas. I love Thomas as a character. I really love a lot of the characters. Grace is not my favorite. I'll just say that. But I am really liking it. I'm thoroughly liking the past and present, like where we're going back in time with some characters. And I just like all the point of views that we're getting. I like how these characters really do have a big group of characters that are kind of all interspersed in this adventure. I also do love that we do get to see like Tess and Will again, because those were two of my favorite characters from the Infernal Devices series. I still haven't seen Magnus Bane, which normally he's a fixture in every single one of Cassandra Clare's books, but I keep hearing his name. So I want some Magnus. But back to reading. Sorry, here I'm back. It's about 8:30, and I did actually wind up getting up to almost 300 pages in Chain of Gold. Still really, really enjoying this book. I mean, I'm loving the character dynamics. I love the mystery that's developing. I think that that's super interesting. And also the time period is one that I'm thoroughly liking. I'm liking all the girl characters, but also the male ones as well. I'm really just liking it. I think it's a great story, and I'm very, very captivated. But yeah, it's a lot of characters. So sometimes like you don't see a character for a while, or you see them in like kind of a different environment. But I do like the investigation element. I like that we have a big cast of characters. I sometimes say that, and sometimes in some fantasy novels that like the cast of characters is so small, but this one that's not the problem. But again, I'm really, really liking it, and I'm definitely going to keep reading tomorrow. I hope to make some more progress on this tomorrow. I would love to get up to page 400 by tomorrow. Hopefully it's a little bit not as hot, so I can go for like another bike ride tomorrow and go for 2 bike rides, but we will see. But I'm gonna go figure out what I want to watch. I really want to watch Nancy Drew, but it's like I don't have the episode, so I have to like fast forward, and it's just like a lot. But I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what I wind up watching. I wound up watching a movie last night, and I might actually wind up watching another movie on Netflix. We will see, but I will update you guys tomorrow before my yoga class. Probably, or right when I start doing my nonfiction reading for the day. Talk to you guys in a bit, or talk to you guys tomorrow. Right here, I'm back. I actually didn't really wind up watching anything last night, TV-wise. I wound up watching one episode of Home Before Dark, which is a new Apple TV show. I found it super interesting. It's basically about this young girl that's basically like wants to be a journalist, and she kind of gets sucked up in all these mysteries, and it's actually based on a true story. I like that one. I thought it was interesting. I might watch more. But I really didn't watch anything else. I was a little bit distracted last night. I don't know why. But I did watch a couple of episodes of Nancy Drew. I really do want to do a Nancy Drew rewatch. I've been watching like bits and pieces of it. I did want to actually downloading all the episodes, but I know that I'm just gonna have to rewatch it again in like December because that show's coming back so late. So I don't know. I'm contemplating if I want to do a rewatch of that or not. I'll make up my mind at some point today. But I am going to go do my nonfiction reading, take my Skillshare class, go to my yoga class, and I'll probably check in with you guys before I do my yoga class. But today I'm doing a little bit of nonfiction reading, and yeah, it looks like it might rain, so I'm hopeful I could still squeeze in a bike ride. But the majority of today, I am going to focus on reading Chain of Gold. That is the majority of my goal today. I want to make a lot of progress on it. So, talk to you guys when I go back to when I'm done with my nonfiction reading for the day. Sorry, here I'm back. It's about 9:30. I did actually wind up doing my nonfiction reading for the day, which was about white centering, and I did actually wind up doing my Skillshare class with Tom Frank. I actually got a lot of good points, and I decided to download another app. I've been trying a lot of new things this summer just because I kind of have a little bit more time. But I am going to go dive back into Chain of Gold. I have about 15 minutes before my yoga class started. And that's kind of one of my goals. I'll actually share them with you guys because I have my app open. I want to read at least one diverse book every single week. Diverse means it's not written by a white male or a white person in general. I want to read nonfiction every day except for Saturday and Sunday. I want to eat only one snack or one unhealthy option per day, which is something I've been really struggling with now that I've been home since quarantine because the food's just here. I want to work out every day, and I want to eat healthy and junk food. I want to do a 10-minute cardio, which should be easy because I normally bike ride every single day. So those are kind of my habit trackers I'm going to kind of focus on. And I downloaded the app. What's it called? Habitica, and you get like a little person that you get to like play with. So I'm excited for that. But I'm going to go dive into Chain of Gold, and I will report back when I'm done with yoga. Bye, guys. Sorry my hair's so messed up. I just went for a bike ride, and it's really, really humid. But I just want to say that I did want up getting to chapter 13 in Chain of Gold. I'm now on page 312. And it's really funny in this book because normally in YA novels, or fantasy novels, there's like a very, very clear villain in the story. But there are so many characters in this book that are making like so many bad decisions that I'm like finding myself really not liking characters. But that's good because it's just like it's a very, very fleshed out world. But Grace, boy, I really do not like Grace. I do not at all. Charles is a character that I'm really struggling with right now. But yeah, I'm really liking this. So I'm gonna go back to read. I'm gonna go read outside while I can still sit outside without being too hot. And then I'll report back. Bye, guys. Lori here. I'm back. I actually did wind up reading up to page 350, I think. My book's over somewhere. It's over there. But I actually am loving this book. Like, I love books that have a very, very big cast of characters. I still don't like Grace. I still don't like Charles, but I like everyone else. The one thing I do like about Cassie Clare's writing is that every character you kind of get to be in their head, but you may have to wait a while to be in their head again, because you have a lot of narrators. But I really am enjoying it. I love this time period. I love the 1900s. I've read very, very few books in that, so it's kind of fun to see how this Shadowhunter world is being constructed in this time period, and then also knowing what came before and knowing eventually what's gonna come after. It's just really, really compelling. I'm liking the mystery that's being developed. I love the diversity in this read, especially the LGBTQ references, especially in this time period, because it's very, very well done. And I'm really enjoying that. So I'm actually going to go for a quick bike ride because it's not as humid as it was yesterday. It's actually kind of not as sunny. But I'm going to my goal is to read the rest of the book today. But let me see. I am on page 343 and I have to get up to page 500. It's doable. May not happen, but it is doable. But yeah, that's kind of my plan, and then I'm probably gonna watch my longer booktube videos when I come home because I do have quite a bit. There is also a lot of book controversy and book drama happening, as it always has been, but it's becoming a little bit more pronounced now. So I'm gonna try to do my best to kind of stay out of the drama, but also trying to raise up the diverse authors that I can. Because that's what I've always wanted to do on my channel. But I know that there's been a lot of drama in recent days and weeks, and it's hard. It's hard to know as a white cis woman what I can do to raise up voices in a respectful manner. And I think that that's sometimes a hard decision and a hard choice to make because you have to kind of go outside your comfort zone. But I'm trying to do the best that I can. So yeah, that's kind of where my head's on that stuff. But I'm gonna go for a quick bike ride. When I come back, I hopefully will have read at least 50 more pages of this book, and I can give you guys my thoughts. But so far, really, really liking it. Lori here, I'm back. I did wind up taking a bike ride, and I did wind up getting up to page Actually, it's part 2, so I'm on part 2 of this book, which means I'm on page 360. I'm on chapter 15. Still really, really liking this book. We're about to go back to a Lucy chapter, which I'm really excited about. So I'm going, well, a Lucy part, because now the groups are in 2 different, like, mini groups tackling the same mission. I'm loving the LGBTQ representation in this book, and I really, really am enjoying it, like, a lot. It's probably the highlight of the book for me, other than the women like the roles of women. There's so many different women in this book, and they're so different, and I'm really liking that. But I'm going to take a little bit of break. I'm going to play a little bit of Animal Crossing, trying to get on a roll of keep playing, because I think that you unlock things quicker if you're actually playing. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll be back to read in about 30 minutes. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. Lori here. I'm back. It's about 5 o'clock. I did wind up reading another chapter or 2 in Chain of Gold. I'm now on page 400. Sorry, I have the hiccups. But still really, really liking this book. Still really, really liking the dynamics and the characters. I've said this before. I sometimes get lost a little bit in big battle sequences. But the one thing that I do love about this book is the diversity and the character relationships that we're getting, because those are things that I really do want in my like YA fantasy, because I really, really like characters and I like groups of characters, so that's stuff that I really am enjoying. So I am going to go, sorry, I have hiccups. I'm going to go read another couple of chapters, and then I'm probably going to go work out, and I'll probably check in after I finish working out, because the next couple of chapters are rather short. So I'll probably like read until I get up to chapter 18. And then I'm going to go work out, and hopefully next time you see me, my hiccups will be over. Hi guys, Lori here. It's almost 6 o'clock. I did wind up getting up to chapter 18, but page 433 in Chain of Gold, one of the secrets that I've been waiting for or was kind of revealed, so that's really interesting. I really am I think Cordelia and Lucy are definitely one of my 2 favorites in these reads. Like, I just love them. There was also something revealed about Lucy. I really in the previous series, in the Infernal Devices series, I always loved learning about Tessa's past. So I really like how Tessa's past is kind of influencing her kids. It's such a good book. I really am loving the diversity in it. There's a lot of talk about love, and there's a lot of great quotes that I'm definitely going to be adding to my planner, but it's a really, really good book. There was an unexpected twist about Matthew, which I'm really, really liking. And Anna Lightwood had I just love the characters. That's what it is. I'll skip Grace and Charles, but everyone else I really, really like. I also like that we're getting a little bit more of Tessa and Will as parents, because I just love them as characters. So yeah, I'm going to take like 30 minutes off, and I'm going to go do 2 workouts, and then I'm going to report back and try to read a little bit more. But I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hey, Lori here. I'm back. It's about 7 o'clock. I just hit 4:56, and a lot has occurred. A lot of my characters are in peril, which is never good. Like, never good. But the stakes are definitely raised. Like, I think the first half of this book was a lot of like world building and kind of like building this problem. And it was slowly getting closer to our main characters, but like now we're there's something that really needs their attention. And I think that James and Lucy are really the heart of this novel, as well as Cordelia, but I'm just so compelled to see what's going to happen, and I'm really afraid for some characters, and that's never a good place to be in these novels. But it's also super interesting because this book is set in so far in the past, and we have a present, so I know that like these lines do continue in some capacity, but I'm just curious like how it all works out, and I'm very, very concerned for my characters. I will definitely talk spoilers at the end of this reading vlog. I'll do like a little bit of a spoiler section. But Thomas is still my favorite. Still really, really liking Thomas. Still really like James. Still really, really like Lucy. Still like Christopher. I like them all. Still struggling with Grace and Charles. But other than that, I just need to know what's going to happen. So that's what I'm going to go do. Update you guys in a bit. Hey guys, Lori here. It's almost 8 o'clock. I did wind up reading quite a bit more. I wound up reading, I'm up to page about 480 in the Chain of Gold. I am really curious how this book is going to end. I think I have, in reference to James's character, I think I have two possible possibilities that may occur. And I'm kind of curious if I'm going to be right. But this book is really, really good. Like, I'm really loving the time period. I'm loving the characters. I think that the one thing about this book is that there is so many characters, so, like, they're not all in every part of it. Like, you don't get to see some characters a lot, but I'm really enjoying it. We're diving a little bit more into Grace's character as well. She's still not my favorite, but we did get an answer for a question that I've been wondering about since the first, like, the infernal devices. So that was actually a kind of a cool question to answer, and I'm really liking how, like, the aftermath of Tessa's heritage and how that's affecting Lucy and James. Very, very interesting, and I'm really, really curious. I'm gonna keep reading, and I'll update you guys when I get up to page 500. Yep. Talk to you guys in a bit. Right here, I'm back. I did actually wind up joining a live show for the Mugglecast podcast that I follow, so that kind of took up a little bit of time. But I'm gonna stop reading Chain of Gold. I'm really at, like, a critical part, and I don't want to read it anymore because then I know I'm gonna be up to, like, all hours of the night, and then that's not gonna be very good. So I'm gonna pick it up tomorrow, and hopefully I'll be able to tackle the rest of that book tomorrow. That's my major goal. But still, really, really enjoying it. I really cannot wait to see how this series ends. Or this book ends. I still have 2 more books, thank the heavens. But yeah, so I will talk to you guys tomorrow morning. Bye. Hey, it's Lori here. I'm back. I did actually wind up going for a bike ride kind of early in the morning because it's going to be hot today. And I wanted to at least get my workout in. But I did also wind up making a little bit of progress on Chain of Gold. I'm now on page 500. One of my predictions is not going to happen, I don't think, but I'm okay with that. I'm still really, really enjoying the characters. I'm also really enjoying that we're flashing back, so we're having, like, mini scenes, like, in the past. I'm really, really loving this book. So I'm going to do my nonfiction reading for the day, take my Skillshare class, and then I'm probably going to dive in and finish Chain of Gold. That's kind of my plan of attack. But yeah, I'm gonna go do those things, and I'll check back when I'm done with my nonfiction reading for the day. Bye, guys. Hey, Larry here. It is almost 1 o'clock. I went to Target, which was super nice. And then I just kind of worked out with my dad. But I did want to making a little bit of reading progress on Chain of Gold. Not a lot, but I'm on page, like, 510. So I am going to actually try to tackle the rest of this. I am going to try to sit outside for a little bit because it's not as hot as I thought it was going to be. But I did want to say that I also did wind up finishing my second Skillshare class, which was Goal Setting by Thomas Frank. I really, really like him as a teacher, and the end of that class kind of added a bunch of stuff to my nonfiction reading. So, including all my anti-racist books that I have on my nonfiction checklist, I have about 11 titles. I doubt I will finish them all this summer, but this is kind of where I'm starting to kind of challenge myself a little bit. I do really like reading nonfiction. I just don't give myself the time, and that's kind of a problem that I'm trying to rectify. But that course was super interesting. I'm going to take a break from the productivity ones. I'm actually going to do 2 classes on creativity, which is something that I have been lacking a little bit. Those that don't know, I'm a theater teacher, and our show got cut in the middle of it due to the COVID pandemic, so I wasn't able to put up a show this year. And I tried to use creativity in other aspects, like Instagram photos and stuff like that, but I have been feeling a little bit less creative. So I'm going to hopefully take that class to kind of, like, inspire me. But yeah, so that's kind of my plans. I'm going to go tackle hopefully the rest of Chain of Gold, and then I'll come back and kind of wrap up this reading along for you guys. But yeah, thoroughly enjoying it. We're right at, like, the ending of her books, but normally when her books end, something like thrilling is revealed. So really excited for it, and I'll check back in when I'm done with Chain of Gold, or if I have to update you guys about something exciting. Bye. It's Lori here. It's almost 3 o'clock, but I did want to finishing the actual book of Chain of Gold. I still have to listen to the short story, but I'm gonna go do that momentarily. But I wound up thoroughly loving this book. I'm really intrigued about book 2. This book ended so well, and I really liked it. I think the highlight of this book, definitely for me, was the diversity in it, and the diversity of the characters, but also the diversity of the experience. I loved it. I love seeing Will and Tessa again. The one thing that I think for me is I really should have had a tree out, because I sometimes forget who was connected to who, because there is so many characters in this book, and I feel like this was a great starter book in the series. Like, I really am excited to dive into books 2 and 3 and just keep reading. There was also a couple of short stories. I think now that I know, I think I'll definitely probably reread them before I read the next book in the series, because I now think I know these characters a little bit better. So I might go back and read, I don't know where they were. I feel like it might have been in, I feel like it was in Ghosts of the Shadow Market. There might be a couple of stories I want to rereading in that, because those really focused on the characters again. But yeah, I wound up really, really liking this book. This was definitely a big book to tackle. So I'm going to actually go do a couple of little errands and listen to my audiobook. I probably won't finish the short story, but it's about Tessa and Will. I think it's basically set on their wedding day. So I'm going to go do that. And then at the end of this reading vlog, I'm going to wrap up everything I've read in the Shadowhunter verse so far, and kind of give you guys my favorite characters, my thoughts, what are my plans next, what do I want to do before the next 2 books come out. I still need to read one thing, and that's going to be my next listening goal, but I will talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hey guys, Lori here. I'm back. It's actually like 2 weeks later that I'm actually filming this, but I did want to wrap up my thoughts on Chain of Gold and kind of talk about the whole series. I have been a Shadowhunters fan since I was in college for the first time. So since I went to Wells, which is over 11 years ago. So I'm just going to kind of give you guys my whole thoughts about the series. Overall, I really, really loved Chain of Gold. I thought that it was a solid start to a series. I became so invested in the characters, and so invested in the plot lines. I thought it was super interesting. One that easily captured me from page 1. I thought the characters were a group that I'm really going to feel super invested in. I will definitely say that I have developed some favorites in that series. I really, really love Thomas as a character. I love Anna. I love Cordelia. I love James. That's like a group of characters that I love everyone so equally. And they're so sweet. I thought the time period was super fun. I love the LGBTQ representation, especially knowing like what that time period is really like. I thought that was great. I was just so captivated. I also really like that we knew the parents of those characters. So like I like that we knew like Tessa and Will and, well, not Jem, but like everyone else. So I really, really wound up liking that. And it was definitely like a nail biter. I mean, I think that what she did is she really made you so endeared to these characters, and then she kind of was like, that person may die, that person may die, that person may die. Spoilers abound. I will say that in this little part. Actually, for the rest of this vlog, I'm going to probably spoil the whole Shadowhunter series, so don't watch this if you haven't read all the books. But my heart was in my throat with Christopher, for sure. You know, I felt like he wasn't going to die, but I was concerned. But I just love all the characters in that series. I am so happy that I finally wound up reading it. Also this year, right when quarantine started, I had made it a goal of mine to finish the Dark Artifices series, and I wound up completing Lord of Shadows and Queen of Air and Darkness early during quarantine, and I wound up thoroughly loving that series, like so much. I found some new favorite characters. I love Kit. I love Ty. I love Livy. I'm so excited for the Wicked Power series that's coming out, I think, in like 2 years or next year. But yeah, that was another series that definitely took me a while to read just because of length, but I wound up really, really liking it. I also wound up reading I actually wound up reading Ghost of the Shadow Market, which is an anthology that I wound up really liking. I love that it like kind of traveled through history as well. And my favorite book of all of hers is Tales of the Shadowhunter Market, because that follows Simon. And Simon is bar none one of my favorite characters in the entire Mortal Intimacy series. I love him so much. And that's kind of like going back to what I wanted to talk about. I was kind of really thinking, like, who is my favorite character? Simon Lewis is definitely one of my favorite characters in all of the Shadowverse. I love him so much. I really hope we get more with him in upcoming projects because I just love him. But I am so happy that we got Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy. Like, so happy. That's like a book that at this point I think I've read 4 or 5 times. And I think I will probably reread it again once more information comes out about the characters that we're currently dealing with. Um, but yeah, that's a series that I really really love. I think that series, like, all the characters in all these books are so well done that it's so hard for me to pick a favorite. But I have a soft spot for the City of Bones gang, like, Jason, Jace, Clary, Simon, Izzy, that gang, Alec, Magnus. I have a soft spot for that gang because that's the first gang that I really like knew first, and they're like always, I like to see them again in other projects. But I also really like the Blackthorn siblings, like that gang that I recently met, and they're probably going to take the book series a little bit into the future. Also, recently I wound up reading the Red Scrolls of Magic with Alec and Malik, and that was so fun. I just really love how Cassie Clare really builds a world and then keeps expanding it and expanding it and expanding it and expanding it. And it's just a series that really is one that is so well done. And I just love the LGBTQ representation. Like, I just think she creates so many different creatures and animals in one book, and I think it's just really really well crafted. Um and I know that, like, I to this day still can't go back and read book 1 and book 2 in the City of Bones series because those books are so hard on my emotions because Simon is basically put through the ringer. So I normally start my reread at book 3 and then kind of read on from there. Um, but I do still really like that series. I think I really would like to reread City of Heavenly Fire, and I definitely want to reread the Infernal Devices series because it's been a while since I reread that series, and now that I'm actually like meeting their children, I think it would be a little bit helpful to have reread that series. So those are some books that are definitely going to be on my later year TBR. It just really depends on what school does. If we're in a building next year, then I'm probably not going to be able to do a lot of my rereading, which is what I've been doing when I've been home because I can just kind of stick on an audiobook when I'm teaching. If I'm in a building, that makes that a little bit harder. But if I, for some chance, am home, I will probably throw those in my library queue and try to get them read because I would like to reread those. And I definitely want to reread City of Heavenly Fire because it's been a while, and I also really need to finish the long defunct TV series because I never wound up finishing it, and I don't know why. Oh, I know why. It was because it was during Willy Wonka, and I was like a stress case, and I couldn't like watch or focus on anything. Um, but yeah, I'm super impressed with her writing. There are still a couple of projects that I would like to read. I really want to read Cassie's Clara and Holly Black's middle grade series. Um, but ultimately I'm really impressed with it. I know she's a author that has a lot of controversy that surrounds her. But I wind up really liking everything that she puts out. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap up this reading log. If I had to choose favorites at the very end of this, I would say my favorite character in I'll give my favorite character in each series. My favorite character in the Infernal Devices series, I think, is probably Gem. I'll be honest. My favorite character in the Mortal Instruments series is probably Clary. My not Clary, Simon. I love Simon. Sorry, I do love Clary too, but Simon is definitely my top tier favorite. Simon is probably my favorite character in all of the all of the Shadowhunterverse. And then in the Dark Artifices series, it's a torn between Kit and Ty. I can't really choose between those two. And then in Chain of Gold, it's probably Thomas or Cordelia. Those are probably my two favorites. My favorite book is probably, I would say probably between City of Heavenly Fire and Queen of Air and Darkness. Those are probably my two favorite books, and then my favorite anthology is probably Tales of the Shadowhunter Academy because that features Simon. Yeah. Let me know if you guys want to do more spoiler discussions. This wasn't really spoilery, but it was just kind of my thoughts on the whole series as a whole. It's been a while since I've been in this fandom, and I always have a hard time finishing series, so I'm trying to get better at that. That's going to be a goal for 2021, if not the rest of 2020. But yeah, I'm glad that I wound up finally finishing this reading log. I really hope that you guys like it. Comment below what is your favorite Shadowhunter series and who is your favorite Shadowhunter character. I would love to hear about it, and I'll talk to you guys later for another reading vlog. Bye, guys.